Good morning.
Well, that's a different tone from the sofa. Different tone from the sofa. Here, she says she doesn't think you're on. He's on. Say it again.
Good morning.
Okay.
Good morning. Do it the other one though.
Good morning.
It's just so loud. The microphones are like, wait, hold on. We can't do it.
To a higher voice.
Yeah.
Good morning.
There you go.
There you
Here,
go.
that's what we're
It
using.
is louder with a higher voice.
It is. Maybe because it doesn't have enough bass, huh? Oh, try it again. Try now.
Which one?
The bass one.
Good morning.
There. You needed some bass. All right. Well, we're being silly already this morning, and Jeannie's not even here. So you can let her know that we could be silly without her. It could be fun without Jeannie. Not the same, though.
It's not the same.
No. You don't even know.
I'm not Jeannie.
Yeah. No.
I'm not wearing a dress.
You are not Jeannie, and thank you for not wearing your dress this morning.
Interesting.
That it would have been.
Anne thinks that would have been interesting. She's curious now.
Don't be too curious.
He says, no,
Trust me, I'm not.
it's not happening. It's not happening. So anyway, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Thanks for those of you who are here this morning with us. I have a special guest. Obviously, you can tell it's not Jeannie, but it's Chris Aird. He is a business consultant. He's my boss. He owns With Purpose business and leadership consulting firm. So I get to work with him all week long, but it's really fun when I get to have him here on the sofa because he has really great insights.
Meaning it's not fun during the week?
I said really fun.
Oh, really fun. There's a
So
really.
it's still
Around
fun, but it's yes, work is fun too. Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, see, he'll watch all the words, so you have to be careful. All the words.
That's funny.
So anyway, I'm excited to have him share with the topic, with me on the topic and with all of you. And we'll see what comes up because as we all know, this is not scripted and it's just coming from our authentic selves. So it should be a great topic today, which is I can change my thinking to change my experience. And we do talk about this topic a lot here on the sofa. It's all coming from here. So we'll get to that in a moment. But I don't think there's anything else. Oh, we are at the Unleash Your Life Studios, home of Reverend Dr. Michelle Whittington. And so if you're curious about some of the work that she does, she's one of my mentors. She's probably the mentor for me and a lot of people in this room. She's amazing. Her work is amazing. And you can go to unleashyourlife.us to check out the classes and the things that she has going on. She's always got something. She has one that runs all year long. And I would highly recommend if you're looking for a way to change some of the thinkings that you have, she's a really great source for that. So
Your best year yet.
yes, and Anne says the year-long one is called Your Best Year Yet. I don't know. I never can grab that.
I know.
Your Best Year Yet is one of her things. So she so graciously lets us use this space for Sofa Sundays, and we are so grateful to her for her support of our ministry. So there's a little plug for Michelle, Reverend Dr. Michelle Whittington this morning. And if you would do so kind as to ring the chime, I will get us prayed in and we can get started.
Inside or outside?
Outside. There you go. You're a natural. Okay, so with a deep breath, let's bring ourselves into this present moment. Just ground yourself here. Listening to the sound of the air, listening to the movements in the room, feeling the seat beneath you, the floor beneath your feet. Recognize that you are here in this moment and let go of anything that came before this moment together. Let it all go. Just release that. And as we are here, I also want you to let go of anything that's scheduled, anything you have on the to-do list that's coming up after this time together, knowing that you're going to get to it. It's going to all get done. But for just a little while, you're going to be present here with Sofa Sundays. You're just going to be here with us, exploring the way we think and how we can use our thinking to change our experience. And so I recognize that there is only one power, one source, one life, one energy moving between us, and that is God. And knowing that there is only God, there's only God that I could be made from, that God stuff. That is the truth of who I am, the truth of who everyone is in this room, beyond the sound of my voice. We are all just these perfect, unique manifestations of the One, expressing ourselves in our own way. And from that place of my knowing, from knowing my truth, I speak my word into the law, knowing that as I do, the law of God can only say yes. And so I know that for this time together, for this precious moment, we are, as we release what has come before, what is coming after, I know that we connect with the laughter, we connect with the message, we connect with the ideas, we take what is ours to take, we give what is ours to give. And I know that this time is divinely guided and truly blessed for each one of us, together and uniquely. And so I let it go, and I know and I trust that it is already done, it is already good. And together we say, and so it is. All right. Well, I'm going to act like Jeannie right now. And I'm going to start with a little reading because she would be disappointed if I didn't. You guys probably would too, because I see you already have your book, so that's awesome. So we are on page 26.
Who's open to almost?
Look at you. You just felt it. Good job. So page 26, it's called Change. And this whole month long has been all about choice and choosing things that you want for yourself. So this is from Reverend Dr. Martha Creek from Unity in Louisville, Kentucky. And she quotes Leo Tolstoy by saying, "Everyone thinks of changing the world, but no one thinks of changing himself." And she goes on to say, "Most people I know would say they like change or want to change. However, it is only somewhat true. We look for tools, ways and means, ideas, as well as prompts to lead us in the direction of becoming our best self. I believe we have a wholesome desire for freedom, to know the truth, and to live authentically. This term came to me from a book, The 5 Invitations. The tenets are powerful for maturity, training, and change, being it, with it, and accepting it. The invitations are: don't wait, include everything, resist nothing, bring your whole self to experiences, find rest in the middle of all things, and cultivate the don't know mindset. None of these invitations are easy. However, each and every one of them hold great potential for change and being freer in change. People often don't really change by themselves. Change takes work. A coach, sponsor, mentor, spiritual director, reading, contemplation, reflection, witnessing, mirroring, support, and a great big dose of willingness. With divine support, practice, and spiritual community, we change from inside. We create lives that have purpose, defined by having elements of joy in all we do, growing the individual self, and living with the certainty that we are beneficial to others. I changed my thinking to change my experience. I let reality be reality. I let things flow naturally forward in whatever way they come. Right? So I love how when I was reading this, I'm like, of course the word purpose is in there. Of course it is. That's the name of his company that I get to work with all week long. Is called With Purpose. And he named it that because he felt that it was his calling, our purpose to help other businesses be successful. So I love that. I immediately aligned with that. And it's so the same thing goes for the lives we create. We do that on purpose. So by our choices, by our thinkings, we create those. Do you have anything that are you thinking anything yet?
I would just say that while that's true, when you look at the true definition of purpose, it's to be intentional, which means you're making a choice to do something with intentionality. That's purpose.
I like that. So are you living life intentionally, basically? Are you intentional? Because we've talked about that over this month, that even if you're, hold on, let me get my quotes up. Even if you're not making a choice, you're still making a choice.
That's correct.
You're always choosing. So why not choose on purpose? Why not choose intentionally? Why not decide, or I think you already know what you want. It's already then you already know what it is. Why not align with it and then intentionally move from there toward what you want? Why not do it like that, right?
Well, if we all are real with ourselves, I don't think we do that because we're afraid of the outcome, right? You've even heard just recently, and maybe you haven't, but there's a statement where people are afraid to be successful. So the choice to do X, Y, and Z, people are afraid of the not knowing, the uncommon or the uncomfortableness. And so we choose not to make a choice, even though we've just made the choice, right? We just really, it's about, we choose to make the decision or we choose not to make the decision. Ultimately, it bears weight on who we're supposed to be, what we're deciding to be, and coming out of our comfort zone to be that individual, whether it's in work or pleasure, right? Work or life.
Right. I agree with that. 100%. I think it is very interesting how we know that we want to be something, but we're afraid of it at the same time. And then our ego keeps us from making the moves forward to get to that because we don't know what's on the other side of that. You know, what if it isn't all that I'm thinking it is? Or what if, but the coolest part about that, we were talking about this earlier, the coolest part about that is you can change your mind again. You could choose something else. You could get there and be like, you know, this wasn't what I thought.
Now wait a minute, Michelle.
I like doing
Now, wait a minute. So we've got a group of people that are in the world today that like things to be methodical, detailed, organized, and they strive for perfection. And so their choice is they want it to be as close to perfect as possible because we don't have time to do it again, right? I'm not talking to anyone, including myself.
To the choir?
So what I'm saying is this is truly the case. We know this, but intentionally in our own mind and how we were created, we don't think that way. So the thinking has to be different. And you brought up the outside perspective of having a spiritual mentor, guidance, coach, counselor, whatever. This third party element is who we really need in our lives to make sure that we're bonding with our future self. Make sense?
Yes. Say again? No. I liked it. Like, say it again.
Bonding with our
Future
Future
self.
self, right. Bonding with our future selves. I love that. And when I was reading this, as I was reading that, the 5 different invitations, I'm like, these are kind of like, could go anywhere with these. Like, I want to look up this book and see exactly what the premise of those 5 invitations, because she doesn't really spell it out here, you know, like, so like the don't wait. So don't wait on what, you know, exactly what does that mean? So the book is actually, I'm not going to try to say the gentleman's name, Frank, I can't even pronounce the last name, but he's a Buddhist teacher and a leader in the field of end-of-life care. So he wrote this book as an attempt to honor the lessons he had learned from sitting bedside with so many dying individuals. So that makes you, all of a sudden, don't wait means something immediately. You already can probably guess it. But the don't wait, so he writes on here, don't wait. Everything we need is right in front of us. Impermanence is the doorway to possibility. Embracing it is where true freedom lies. And he said, our lives are not solid and fixed. Knowing this intimately is how we prepare for death and loss of any kind. So, but he says, so you can change. You can choose to release grudges. You can forgive. You can free yourself of resentment and any regret. So luckily we don't have to wait. We can do it right now. So any major life change can provide us an opportunity. So to not wait. And I like that. I liked thinking, like, I understand that don't wait, just let's get going. You know, don't wait because you don't know that you can do it tomorrow. You're not promised anything.
Right.
So it's important too.
But when you talk about like end of life or even just living with regret, like we have, and I think I mentioned this the last time I was on the sofa. We've all heard that YOLO, right? You only live life once. Right? I'm going to suggest that we live life every day. We die once. So living life every day means that we get to choose the choices that we make. We get to choose the outcome that we make. And to the point in what you were reading, even the idea of forgiveness or letting go of grievances, we truly have to be intentional, purposeful, to let that go, to say, I forgive, I'm going to resolve the grievance in my own life, right? So that we can then live to our better self, our future self, but we live with a clearer conscience as well, so that those things don't pile up on us from day to day, week to week, month to month, year to year.
Exactly. And so don't wait to make those moves that you can feel on your heart you need to make. You know, if you have a longing or like something that's eating you up inside, don't wait, go fix that. You know, don't let it pile up on top of another one and another one. And now there's, you know, you want to go after the things that you are called to do. And I think, like, sometimes when I know I want to do something, I'm older now, so I have this a little bit better now than I did when I was younger. But that desire, like, well, I'm afraid of that. Well, I don't care. Let's go do it. Like, I just have more of a gumption to get going because I have learned that fear isn't real over my experiences, you know, over my lifetime now of saying, well, when I did go ahead and do it, despite being afraid, the outcome was what I wanted. And I was really glad I did that. So now I'm more like, yeah, I'm scared or I feel really uncomfortable. I'm out of my comfort zone, but I still want to do that. I want to do it anyway. So I gotta just go. Like, just don't wait, just go.
So how do we, as a human being, an entity, how do we resolve that in our own minds, in our own hearts? When you talk about what we know we want to do, but we hold back, how do you resolve that, Michelle?
For me, I make a plan. I'm a planner. So I would decide what I wanted, and I would give it a time-bound date that I want. Like when I did my podcast, when I created my podcast, I was scared to death to create that podcast. I was scared to death to do the first one, but I made the date. I set the date, and I backed up, and then I made a launch sequence, an 8-week launch sequence, and I followed my launch sequence. And boy, you get really aware that date is coming. Oh my God, okay, no, just focus on this week. What were you supposed to do this week? And what are you doing this week? And next thing you know, you're on the week. And all the things have been done and you're on the week. And all you gotta do is press post. You just gotta press the button, and then you just need to press the button and do it. But it took me all day. I mean, I probably sat on that for the whole time, like, okay, hold on a minute. Oh, look at the kids need me. Hold on a minute, I'll be right back.
Sure.
But for me, it's planning. It's for me. I'll use an END schedule. I'll plan myself. I'll put something behind it that I really want to get to, and I can't have it unless I do the thing I want to do. So I'll plan it out, follow the sequence with blinders on, like a horse with blinders, through the fear, through whatever's scaring me, but I ignore that, and I just do the plan, follow the plan.
What about those that are not planners, though?
Just do what I say and you'll be fine.
Take some kind of action.
Well, but that's the thing, and there's a lot of people on the other end of the spectrum that will just do a decision, make a decision without any regard to the consequences.
They'll just jump.
They'll
They
just
won't
jump.
wait. They'll just jump, and then they'll course correct, and that's
Correct.
nothing wrong with that either.
Correct.
And that's what I was saying before too. Like, it's cool if you are that person because you can change your mind. There's nothing, if it's not permanent, if what he's saying is true, like nothing's permanent, everything's always changing, and you're just, okay, then I jump. Maybe I'm not Michelle, I'm not gonna make this whole plan because I'm scared, I'm gonna do all these things. Maybe I go, no, I'm gonna go record something, I'm gonna stick it there today, see what works. And if I don't like it, I'll just change my mind.
And for some people, that grips them with fear,
Yeah,
Me,
crazy.
right?
I can't do that.
It grips us with fear because, so it's really about know thyself. 3 words, right? Know thyself. We have to know who we are so that we can continue making the choices that dictate the experiences that we're looking for.
Exactly. So if you're like me and you want to plan it out, do that. Plan it, the whole thing. But make a date, make a date that's happening. Like Chris always says, reverse engineer it. Get yourself I call it a launch sequence so that you just follow it blindly. Here's what needs to be done all this way. And then next thing you know, you are. And you just need to do it.
And at the end of the plan, push the button.
Push the button. And maybe you need to have support. Maybe you need to have your tribe all know that that's your date. I mean, how many of you knew that was my date, right? You all knew that it was going live. I put it in the Facebook group that I created for it. Everybody knew that I was expected to put that out on that date. So I also had a lot of people. And so, yeah, do whatever you need to do, but definitely don't not do it.
Definitely don't not do it.
Don't not do it. Yeah, do it. So the second one was welcome everything and push away nothing. So welcome anything and push away nothing. And he says, accepting life as is means that we make peace with the things that are rather than trying to force them to be the way we want them to be and getting frustrated that we can't. Instead of spinning a story that we then try to live into, we open we open to a way things are and accept that we are completely, well, he says that we are completely human, but we are actually spiritual beings having a human experience. So we are having a human experience. So just be open to the way things are. And I like that. We talk about that a lot, to come back to what's actually happening and then moving from there.
I don't like that.
What did you like that?
I don't like that because I like control of a situation as much as I can control it. I recognize that there are uncontrollables, but even just this past Friday, a couple of days ago, I heard someone speak into me, Chris, you can't control the uncontrollables. There are things outside your sphere of influence that you do not have control of that. And it's not about control like it power or anything. It's just that you want things organized,
Just
structured.
the outcome, not the person.
Exactly. Yeah. It is about the outcome and not the person. So he's absolutely right on this. And we have to embrace it. We were just having a conversation before we went live. Oh, here's another freaking growth opportunity, right? And that's really, truly, I mean, I know it's being overstated in society today, but they are truly growth opportunities. And we are constantly changing. We're evolving. Our mindset is shifting, right? And so
Thank God.
Right? Yeah, because if we were the way we were when we were born, how many ever years ago, we'd be not a functioning member of society, right? So we've evolved, and so yeah, thank God. At the same time, though, even in those moments of despair, anger, anguish, whatever, unknowing, we do need to step back for a brief moment, find counsel if we need to find that, and go, okay, you know what? What do I need to learn in this moment?
And you know what you're doing when you do that?
No, what am I doing?
You are having control. You're having control because you are choosing how you will respond to it.
I've made the choice, right?
You're
There you
choosing
go.
that. So that's the thing. Yeah, we're not able to control what's going on and out there, what all this is. And maybe to Anne's point earlier, I know I've said it before too, that, God doesn't say, you don't say, I want to learn how to be patient, and God just gives you patience. God gives you multiple ways to learn how to be patient. So be careful what you ask for, you guys. Don't say, I want to be this or that, because God's funny and will give you so many different opportunities to grow into that, not just give it to you. So be careful. Be careful what you ask for. But yeah, so it's controlling the way we respond is going to then ultimately affect the experience. So we can respond we can fight it, we can be angry about it, we can be frustrated about it, we can have all kinds of feelings about the thing, or we can say, this is what's actually happening. Okay, so what's my next move from here? What am I doing now about that?
And then your plan can shift, change, but we make the choice that we are in control of the outcome, not the individual or individuals that are part of that scenario, but we are in charge of who we are. We control our emotions, how we react to it, our behaviors, right? Okay, so there you have it.
I love that. Yeah. So that's another one. This one I love. I think you said you like this one too. This is the one, bring your whole self to the experience. And I really like this. It said, this was great. To be whole, we need to include, accept, and connect all parts of ourselves. We need acceptance of our conflicting qualities and the seeming incongruity of our inner and outer worlds. Quote, wholeness does not mean perfection. It means no part left out. I love that. It means no part left out.
It's kind of like bonding with your current self.
Yes, bonding with your current self. I like that, Anne, bonding with your current self. So with acceptance, what emerges is a deep trust in what is. We release ourselves completely from the comparison, the assessment, and rejection of the inner critic. We stop blaming ourselves for having desires and wants, and instead accept these desires as a flavor of love, one that expresses our heart's deepest longing for what is true and real. I love it. I love the thought of it means no parts left out. So come in your authentic wholeness to everything, to the experience. Just bring it all there and experience that. Like some of the stuff I've gone through over the past month, just personally. There's a lot of my friends are like, how are you doing? How are you feeling? And it's like, I'm interested in myself. Like I'm curious about myself, that I'm not responding to it the way I thought might happen. The part that kept me in fear for a long time, I didn't make a move for a while because I was partly in fear of how it would be afterwards. Would I go through a lot of pain, or would I suffer, or whatever? And I'm not doing any of that. So it's I'm very interested about what is happening now? And why is that happening? So I'm just allowing it to be and kind of observing the results of that, which has been kind of fun.
So I too like all of that, with the exception of one thing, and that was like, it's not perfect. So that's just a challenge for me because I want things to be as close to perfect as possible. However, back to your point about the whole self, think about this. If you were to think about the holistic approach, mind, body, spirit, those three things. But we've also got our work life, our personal life, our finances. I mean, everything that, and here's the thing, it boils down to who we are as an individual. And if we can't or choose not to love who we are at that moment, then we have no right loving anybody else. Fair statement?
I like it.
Harsh.
It is. However, it means that we've got work to do inside of us, right? We're not at a state of perfection, but we're being perfected. It's active, it's a verb, right? So we haven't reached the totality of perfection, but we're being perfected. So these situations, these choices that we choose to make, whether we give a positive or a negative answer, whatever happens to us, positive or negatively, we then bring our whole self into it and we say, I am going to be available for what I need to go through at this moment, right? It frees up our thinking, it frees up our emotions, it frees up everything else that we are to be in the moment and to think about that moment, and then, to your point, create a plan moving forward. What have I learned from my experiences? How am I applying it today? And what am I looking for in the future?
Right. And so you said it was harsh about that, but it truly is, not that you necessarily, I understand what you're saying too. I sometimes will feel like it's not that I shouldn't love other people too, but it's that at what level am I loving? I'm loving at the level that I love myself. So, you're attracting everything that's inside here is what you're attracting. And what you want to trade? Trey. Oh, he thought it needed batteries. Thank you.
What you read from the author made the comment about rejecting your inner critic. How do I do that? That's my question. Does anybody have an answer?
Well, let me have my microphone back. I'll give you an answer. So the inner critic, when that's happening, that's not coming from the present moment. So in the present moment, there is only God. I mean, there's only God anyway, but that's where your connection is. When you're having all this critic stuff, you can find it by the emotion. It's really just an emotion. So if you're feeling angry, you're feeling sad, mad, or bad. Remember child terms, sad, mad, or bad. You're in your past. You're in your inner child who's freaking out, who's trying to keep you safe, trying to get you to stop doing whatever it is you're doing because no, we know how to do this. If we figured out how to do it right here, I don't want you going over there because I know what to do here. So that's your inner child. That's the past. And that's not where we want to be. We don't want to make moves from the past because the past doesn't exist anymore, right? So if you're fearful, if you're worried, if you're having anxiety, depression, all those other, you're terrified, scared, whatever, you're in your future thinking. And all of that thinking hasn't even happened. None of that's even happened. I can't even guarantee, you can't guarantee any of that will happen. So it's all up here. You're not present. So if you come to present and you say, what is actually happening right now though? So what's my move from here? Oftentimes we're moving from the past. We're making moves from the past or moves from the future thinking, and those are the wrong moves. I guarantee you they're for a past that doesn't exist and a future that may never come. But the present is real. This is what's actually happening. And this is where you want to move from. So to come back to present and say, but what's actually happening? Okay, that's what's happening. It just is what's happening. And you'll find that you really have no emotion about it. You're like, it's like stating the facts. Here's what's actually happening. Then what's my move? And that first answer is your move. And just don't wait on that. Don't wait on that. If there's anything not to wait on, it's that move. That's the move. Make it. And then ask again. And keep moving until you can find your strength in that. So that inner critic is a bad word. I want to say the B word so bad, but it's tough, but it's got the job of keeping you safe, and you no longer need it to do that. You're an adult. I don't need my inner child keeping me safe and keeping me stuck here because they know how to manage this. They've learned how to survive right here. I don't want to survive. I want to thrive. So I no longer need that. And I just need to love that part of myself. Thank you so much. Thank you for trying to help me. But I'm 53 years old now. I've got it. Let me have it. I got it. You can go relax. I'm going to go take care of it. And that's how you do it. Be present. And it's a practice. I can tell you all day long about it. And I still have my moments often where I'm like, what am I doing? I know. What am I doing? So it's just a constant turnaround all the time. And you have anything?
No, that was a great teachable moment.
Oh, thank you. All right. So this one, I really like these last three. Find a place of rest in the middle of things. And I went right to, my naps in the middle of the day. It's encouraging me. I just go do those like 10, 15 minutes. Like I'm on a computer a lot, so my eyes just hurt. And then I'll be like, you just need to go take a break. So I love that. But it says, we often think of rest as something that will come to us when everything else in our lives is complete at the end of the day. When we take that bath, or once we go on holiday or get through all of our to-do list, then we can take a break. So I'm like, wow, that is so true, isn't it? Like, okay, after everything's done, then I can go to bed and finally get some rest, We imagine that we can only find rest by changing our circumstances. But finding a place of rest isn't about adding another task to your already long to-do list, nor does it mean napping more during the workday, though this may be helpful. It's helpful. Just want you to know it's helpful. Rest is a choice to be alert, to bring your attention to this moment. So it can also be just coming to present. Like meditation, that's all meditation is. People are like, I can't quiet my mind. Well, that's not really what meditation's about. Meditation is about just being present. And you can close your eyes and do that. You can also stare at something. We can do so many things it's just all about being present. So I don't know if you felt, I like that. I liked resting in the open awareness. We release ourselves from the habits of managing our circumstances and just take a break.
So as you're reading that, you had read it to me earlier before we started, and then rereading this, and the same thought hit my mind. I think the word rest is based upon perspective. For me, rest in the middle of my circumstances is not about closing my eyes. Maybe it is. It's not napping. For me, it's about finding my why. When life seems to be throwing whatever it can at me, and I understand that this is my calling, I understand that this is my purpose in life, then that is my anchor point at that moment. This becomes my why, and this is necessary. Whatever it is I'm going through is necessary for me to grow to the next level, for me to mature, for me to be emotionally intelligent, for me to be self-aware, for me to be having this as a teachable moment to somebody else because I've lived through it. Yeah. For me, that's when I hear the word rest, it literally is just taking a breath, sit back and go, I've chosen this lifestyle, I've chosen this work, I've chosen ABC. This is necessary for the evolution of things.
It's like a contemplative moment of like separate from everything going on and just take a moment to yourself to hang on now.
Yeah, but
anchoring back in.
And yeah, so even deeper, it's anchoring, going, I'm not giving up. This is what my purpose is. This is my intentional being in this moment. What do I get from this situation?
I love that. That's cool, huh? Yeah, come back to what is happening here? Why am I doing this? I like that. Thank you for sharing that. And the last one is cultivate don't know mind. Cultivate the don't know mind. Ignorance is usually thought of as absence of information or being unaware, but it's more than just not knowing. It means that we know something, but it's the wrong thing. Ignorance is misperception. The don't know mind represents something else entirely. It is beyond knowing and not knowing. It says that a Zen master famously said, in the beginner's mind, there are many possibilities, but in the expert's mind, there are few. So I really like that because it says, trying to keep your mind open that you may not know, then you get to see all the possibilities and ideas. But as soon as you're like, oh yeah, I know. I try to teach my kids to, if I tell them something, I don't like it when they say, yeah, I know. It's like, don't say that. You might even say, oh, you're right. And I was going to do that. That's different. That keeps me offering information to you, and you're not closed off to it because you may not know.
So to that point, I also take that, but I'll take it a step further or deeper, and I ask questions. I'm very well known for asking questions, even though I might already know the answer to what someone is going to say, I still am going to ask the question, because in that moment, I might learn something. I might learn a different perspective. And as much as I try to think 360 degrees in a situation, I may have missed something. And in that missing something, they'll bring it to my attention. But here's the other thing. It creates a partnership. When we ask questions, when we get away from the not knowing, right? When we explore the various opportunities and the way people are thinking, behaving, feeling, all of this, because I don't think any of us in this room are mind readers, or if we had some in the world, I would think that they would be lottery winners too. So I'm not quite sure about this. So all that to say is we have to explore, and the opportunities are endless, not even through just what we have tangible, but the intangibles as well. So that's where I would take it as well.
I love that. Yeah, and Dr. Shirzad, the one that does that, the PQ, the positive intelligence practice, he talks about just staying curious, always being curious, right? How important that is. And when you say, oh yeah, I know, you're not curious now, and that other, not only have you closed yourself off, the other person shuts off too, like, oh, they know, so,
You can literally see a wall being built
Yeah.
at that moment, right? Or the hand in the face, and you're rejected.
And one thing that you and I experience a lot with business owners is that they don't know what they don't know. So that's an issue. I can remember that in my salon, not knowing that I didn't know that I should have been doing XYZ, which was detrimental to my business. But I didn't even know that I didn't know that. So what do you do about that? Walking around like you know everything, like that's an issue, because then no one wants to tell you either. No one wants to come to you and say, hey, just so you know, you don't know, but this is, you're not doing that.
But Michelle, you're bringing up very specifically the business owner, but let's go back. If we've had children or we've been around children that have been maybe 2 or 3 years old, what is the question that they always ask?
Why?
Why? They're curious. What point in our adolescent, teenage, even adult age did we stop asking why? I'm sure I have at some point, but I've gotten back to that. Why am I doing this? I'll take full responsibility. Why am I doing this? Why did I make this choice? What am I looking for? And it sounds selfish, but it creates that openness of opportunity and curiosity. I think that the world would be completely different today if we had that childlike faith where it was open and it was somewhat naive in a good way, but that curiosity of the mind, if you will. And so think about when you brought in the business owner, think about these are people that have grown up with not knowing what you're talking about, what we're discussing today. They've been jaded in a way. They've been closed off. They've been told that they don't know anything. They've been told that someone doesn't have time for them. These are things, and so much more, but these are things that allow the opportunity to thrive in order for us to be more aware, both emotionally and physically.
Right, and that also comes from our, from that ego, from that not being present mindset too. When you're in the I know mindset, it's like, think about how you're feeling. Like, why are you doing that? Why are you saying, I know? Because you have a fear that if they think you don't know, what are they going to think about me? So you're not even being present. Even that little statement is not a present statement. Because in the present moment, all the possibilities are there. Everything is right there. So when you are open-minded and you're like, wow, I might do it like that, but what way would you do it? Like, what are some of the options that you might have? Well, I was going to do it like this, but why are you out saying that? Do you have something else? Like, oh my gosh, you might have something really cool that comes along. I don't know if you've ever had this experience, but I have. I'm assuming other people have, where you watch those little videos and someone's showing how to crack an egg or how to peel something. And you're like, what? My mom taught me how to do it this way. I've done that my whole life. Killed myself to do it like this my whole life. And then look, takes them 2 seconds. But I thought I knew. I thought I knew how to do it. And was I successful? Did I get the end result? But wow, that was a cool thing. And thank God that person just goes, oh yeah, everybody already knows how to do that. Instead, they shared it, right?
It's all about the opportunities. It's all about what we know and recognizing that we don't know everything we don't know, right? And again, we're proving our own self and improving the partnership that we have with society, with community, with the being, right? With the people that are allowing to be in our lives.
Right. And the other thing that Shirzad had said was, stay curious. But I love when, and I try to bring this up sometimes when we're working with a particular client, so you may have heard me say this, but the answer when someone poses something and you don't like it, or they give an idea and you don't want to do it, like, oh yeah, I don't like that. No, I don't want to do this. I don't like that. Instead of saying that, because that will also shut someone else down from sharing those, instead you can say, well, what I like about that is this. Because most likely you could, like even 10% of it you like. You might like a piece of it, maybe not the whole thing. And that leaves an opportunity for openness, discussion. That person will continue to share because you didn't just shut them down. So it's and then you also are seeing, you're also staying present and you're being open too. So I liked both of those, staying curious. And then, so this is all about that mind, staying curious, but then saying, what I liked about what you just said, Evie, was this. And then going from there. And then moving forward. So I think that's pretty cool. It helps really great in groups because you want everybody curious and you want everybody putting out their ideas without, if they're afraid that they're going to get shot down or look the fool or whatever, or that someone's going to, act like that was a stupid idea, then they stop sharing that. And that might be the one person that has the idea that breaks through everything. So, yeah. Anything else from you?
Nope, that's good stuff.
Oh, that's good. So any comments from you guys? Anything you want to share? Anything coming up for anybody? Really good?
You kind
Hold
of
on, hold on.
allude.
Trey.
Sorry.
You kind of alluded to it, but I'm playing with it in my mind a little more. And whatever we know or think we know is all based on the past. It's all based on our past experiences or other people's past experiences or, everyone, the whole universe's past experiences like gravity and things like that, but it's not present. It's all about the past, really.
Wow.
So if you think of it that way, that really makes this moment full of possibilities.
Mm-hmm. I love that, Trey.
So to your point, I typed something up late last night, finished it up this morning. To your point, what you just said, how many unwanted rocks are we still carrying? How many unwanted rocks are we still carrying? Really think, how much extra weight am I carrying that is not necessary? What's affecting my engine? What's affecting my motor, right? What's driving me? What slows me down? What's obstructing my progress? Think and make up your mind that you're going to dump all of this, especially the rocks, because they're not worth carrying. We do live, and this is where you've heard about scarcity or abundance mindset, right? We all do, because of how we were raised. It's the subconscious that kicks in. To your point, when we first started this, it's what protects us. This didn't feel right this way when I made this choice. Therefore, I'm going to make the same choice because I don't want to feel it. When the whole scenario, the person, whatever, is completely different. So you're on point with that. You really are. And there is so much value in what you shared. And you said you were playing with it in your mind. I would keep playing with it because in there, you're going to find an answer. I would also encourage you to find someone where you're kind of brainstorming with it outside of the mind, because then once it comes out of here, it becomes a little bit more tangible, a little bit more real, and the solutions become more concrete and real as well.
Yeah, I love that. I hadn't thought about that before, but it all does come from that experience, that back there space. All the data that we carry up in our heads and all the rocks that we carry up here, all the things that we stored and we're hanging on to, we walk forward with it, right? Just like, oh no, I've already know all this. I've already done all this. And then someone comes along with a better way to do it. And you're like, what?
And think about this though too. This is already, I'm starting to get really, I was already excited, but now I'm really excited. Who misses out when we think about our childhood experiences, trauma, past, whatever? Who's missing out? We are. And the people that we want to build a relationship with, because it's not fair to them what we've gone through, right? And so we might actually find someone or something that is so much better when we choose to give up this. I was just reading the other day that the universe provides us something better. So think about all of our relationships. Think about all the scenarios or situations you've been in the past week. What could you learn from? How can you grow through it? What do you need to give up? And what are you looking forward to?
Love that. Love that. Anybody else have any sharing? Debbie?
I'm not sure how this relates, but I'm going to talk about it anyway. And I don't know if it's a thing from the past or fear of the future, but you were talking about fear of being shut down, and that's why people don't share so much. And I find that what I do, because I am also a questioner, I will verify and clarify the most minute point because I don't want to be confused about things.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things I often do is I modify my question to denigrate myself. I'm not understanding what you're saying. Maybe it's just me, but this is a stupid question, but, and it drives me crazy to think I do that, and I do it all the time, and I wish I didn't. Because usually people come up and say, man, I'm glad you asked that question because I didn't get it either.
Yep.
And so that's a quick decision I need to make, is just to ask it and not care whether other people think I'm stupid or whether it's a stupid question. Because it's a fear of being like, they're gonna think I'm stupid anyway, so let me admit that I'm stupid right now. Up front. I'll admit it up front in that way.
Yeah.
Right. I'll admit it up front so you don't have to think it because I already know it, sort of thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, what a great share. Wow, Trey. That is a very vulnerable share. Thank you for sharing that, because I think we've all done that too. We've all felt like this. If we're gutsy enough to even ask the question, like you're at least still being gutsy enough to ask the question. Some of us won't even ask the question. Pray to God someone like you will ask the question because we're so afraid to even say it. So you can at least pat yourself on the back. At least I get myself to say what it is. And then everybody else will thank you so much for asking that, because, but it is a practice. So like, if you know you're going to be put in a situation where you might need to ask questions, I would practice ahead of time, speaking out loud, asking a question without using that beforehand, because that is definitely coming from your future thinking and just, your fears and your future thinking. And honestly, other people don't think about us as much as we think they do. They don't. And you've already gotten confirmation that a lot of other people were like, thank you for asking that question. So a lot of other people are like, oh man, think you're awesome because you asked that. So actually the opposite is occurring, because you were able to say that and they didn't. They weren't able to.
What if you ask the question, because you're not stupid?
Right.
What if you ask the question to better understand this? Done. Right? And phrase it that way, because regardless of whatever's happened in the past, you certainly don't want to carry that forward tomorrow. I would rephrase the question, practice it a little bit. I think everybody on the planet has had to do that in some way, form, or fashion. We've always heard it. There's no such thing as a stupid question, right? So wherever that's coming from, and again, it might be that counsel, a third party, to kind of go through that with you. But all that to say is find ways to reframe the question. Just like the example I gave you, because you're not stupid. We all know that in this room anyway.
Right.
He who asks a question is a fool for a moment. He who fails to ask the question is a fool forever.
Exactly.
What is most difficult for me is, why am I the one that doesn't understand this and I have to ask this? Why am I the only one that's not getting this?
I'll tell you, I used to be a teacher. You know that I was a teacher, right?
No.
It's because people learn in several different ways. I had a professor tell me, Michelle, if you teach the way that you learn, you'll lose 2/3 of your class. And the only reason why I learned how to teach in multiple ways was because that person said that to me. I had no idea I was doing that. I was only teaching to 1/3 of my classroom. If you continue to teach how you're learning, you will always lose the rest of your people. So it's not even that you're not understanding, it's that your teacher may not understand to teach to the multiple ways that we learn and to create a lesson that complements all of those. Instead, naturally, why would you know that unless someone told you that? You would naturally just come from who you are. This is how I do it. I'm going to teach it like that. That's just the only thinking they had. I'm so grateful that that professor said that to me, because I think that's why I was such an effective teacher. I recognized, and then I could see them too because of that awareness. But not everybody has that. Not everybody's like a trained teacher. They just are sharing something with you. So giving them some grace too, that, okay, maybe they didn't know that I needed a little bit of a better explanation around this. And sometimes they don't even know how to explain it that way. So I used to ask my class, I would say, can anyone else explain this in a different way? I would say, who all understands what I just said? And if not, every hand went up in the room. I'd say, who can explain this in a different way? And I would let someone else come up and explain it, because it gave them great, self-esteem. But it also, if I did my whole thing and that's all I had, only way I could explain it. Another kid would come up, a child would come up and explain it in a whole other way, and then I got the rest of them. So I don't think that has anything to do with you at all. I think it comes from the teacher's abilities to teach the topic in a rounded way. So, yeah. And I think that's from childhood, because from day one, we're in classes trying to learn how all this works. And you've got teachers that are the same as us. They just a little bit ahead of you, but they're trying to learn it too. And unless they get those enlightenments or figure some stuff out along the way. Yeah. So thanks for bringing that up, because I'm sure that helped you and whoever else was already feeling like that around these things. We're all still in this place of learning. So thank you for sharing that. What was I gonna say? Oh, and when you have that leaning to ask a question, I think, like Evie, just as best you can, ask it. The very fact that you're being called to ask it is just, to me, says that either it's for you or someone else in the room that it needs to get asked. And trust that it needs to get out, because you're not the only one. Obviously, you weren't the only one that needed the answer. So.
That's good.
Yeah. Anything else?
Not on that? Nope.
Anything else at all? Complete?
Let me just say this. Are we closing
We're
this up?
closing out.
Okay.
Yeah, we did good.
So I think if we're all honest with ourselves, whether you're in the room or you're online or listening to the recording, I think if we're all honest with ourselves, we can look back even as far as early as yesterday and recognize that we could have done something different. A, don't beat yourself up over it. You made the best decision based upon information that you had at that moment, right? B, look for ways when that choice comes up again to be a little bit stronger, bolder, courageous, to come outside of the box thinking, if you will, to say, this is the decision I'm going to make next time it comes up. And then look for that courage inside to go ahead and to do that with, right? I just want to encourage you all this morning is what I'm trying to do. And I would say this, and I'm going to take a little bit of my own personal life, if that's okay. A little more than a year and a half ago, I had like this, we'll call it an aha moment. And I was recognizing that life for me as an individual, and this is the whole facet of me being an individual, while I was in the moment, I was being in the middle of the boat, let's call it status quo. And in that, I recognized through some teaching that that's not where I wanted to be anymore. So I had to get out of that boat called status quo and do some things that were uncomfortable to me. I had to come and find my courageous bone. I had to find the bravery muscle, right? All of these different things. And I will say this, while I'm a different person today, I know that the relationships around me have changed. I know that the way I do things is completely different, not 180, but close. And I have a new vision, right? Because I'm becoming the person I want to be, not what is dictated to me. Does that make sense? And we all can have that regardless of our age, regardless of where we're at in life. It's just a moment where we go, I'm going to be this person. I'm going to be in the moment. Each and every single moment turns into hour conversations, turns into week, whatever of busyness. But if we're present every single moment, we're going to know thyself a little bit deeper, a little bit stronger, and we're going to be able to make the further decisions in the future. Remind you, when we drive home or when we drive places, we are looking through the front windshield. We're not driving looking at the rear view mirror. Okay? We're looking out the front windshield, not at the rear view mirror.
And we're not going in reverse either.
That's correct. We're going forward.
No reverse. No reverse. Thank you. And now you can see why I invite him to be on the sofa when I get the chance, because he always has great insight. And as you're talking, and I like that coming from, I like a male's mindset too, because we always have so much female energy. So it's nice to have a man come in and also share from that place too. Some of the it's not even different, but it's just having a male perspective around and sharing like that too. So I appreciate you being here. It's always great. So
Thanks for the invite.
yes, well, expect another one because you'll get another one always. All right. So, and did that help with the change your thinking? I changed my thinking to change my experiences, right? Okay, great.
Good nuggets.
Good, I love it. So Jeannie, we miss you terribly, but we did good. So we met the purpose of being on the sofa today. All right, so if you'll chime that, I will pray us out. Okay. Wow, what a great morning time together. There is one power, one energy, one life. Just one God, one Spirit. God is love. God is peace. God is joy. God is confidence. It's that calm in the present moment. It's that breath in the present moment. And from that place of knowing the truth, I speak my word into the law, knowing that as I do, the law of God can only say yes. And I know that this time together has been so blessed. I love the sharing. I love the laughter. I love the ideas that have come forward. I love the vulnerability. I love the openness, the willing to share so that others can learn. Definitely that open mindset. And I know that each one of us, as we allow ourselves to sit with this, to take these practices into our week, into the rest of this month, into the year, into our life, every moment of every day, I know that we move to create more of that life we love, that life we desire, the work we desire, the relationships we desire, the health we desire, the career we desire, all of the things. I know that we understand that as we change our thinkings, that we make the choices with intention, that we are creating the experiences we desire. It's coming from us. It's coming from inside each of us. Every moment, every choice. And so with that, I am so grateful for knowing that. I am so grateful for that being true. And so I let it go. And I know and I trust that it is good. And together we say, and so it is. Oh, so thank you so much for being here. Thanks for all of you sharing this morning. I love that. Thank you, Trey Davis in the house, helping us out today. And thank you, all of you in TV land. I like saying that. Anyway, thank you, Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. We appreciate you all being there and watching this. And please share. That's how you can help this ministry get out there more, is to share. Invite your friends, comment, put a GIF on there that makes Facebook say, ooh, let's share this. There's something good going on here. So every time you comment, every time you share, every time you invite your friends, you help us do more of this because we love this. We love sharing this with each other, growing this community. And remember, on September 10th, we have a special guest on the sofa. We have a workshop the night before. So probably at the end of this week, you'll be able to start to register for that. It will be a limited space available, but you will be able to register for that, and it's free. It's a love offering, and if you want to, for the gentleman who's going to teach that. But he's also our guest on Sunday, September 10th, and then we're all going to lunch together. So make sure that you're trying to be in person at least for that one, if not before. And so if there's nothing else, I would like to say goodbye and thank you for joining us today.
Awesome.
Cheers.